Vance, in exclusive interview, says he is ready to be president while hailing Trump's health. Washington. The first time Vice President JD Vance walked into the Oval Office, by the way, and he noticed the drapes dark and gloomy. Dark and gloomy, but he insists he's not measuring them for a future turn behind the result desk. And I have gotten, by the way, a lot of good on the job training over the last 200 days. And Vance, by the way, said in an exclusive interview with USA Today on 27th of August, when asked if he was ready to assume the role of commander in chief. And his boss, by the way, his boss, after all, is the oldest person to have been sworn in a president of the United States, President Donald Trump, was 78 when he began his second term in office. And besides Trump, by the way, Trump is an incredibly good health. And he said Vance, by the way, is got incredible energy. And the wide-ranging interview covered topics including his televised spat with Ukrainian and President, by the way, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, the Taylor Swift-Travis Kelce engagement, and the president's controversial efforts to oust a Federal Reserve governor. And while the question, by the way, of Trump's age had been raised throughout his presidential campaign by Democrats and even his own primary opponent, Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley, by the way, and Haley's campaign released a campaign ad titled Grumpy Old Men, and casting both former President Joe Biden and Trump as stumbling seniors. And concerns around Trump's health have resurfaced in recent months. And the White House. The White House, by the way, announced in July that Trump had been diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency, a common vein condition. And after images taken of the president showed visible swelling in his lower legs, it chin parapella. And the White House physician described the condition as benign and common in a memo, and saying they were consistent with minor soft tissue and irritation from frequent hand shaking outlook on his boss health. And saying also that most people who work with the president are younger than he is. And Trump, by the way, keeps the longest work hours, and he is the last person making phone calls at night. And he is the first person, by the way, who wakes up and is the first person making phone calls in the morning, he said. And Trump, by the way, was the target of two assassination attempts last year. And while campaigning as a presidential candidate in July 2024, Trump, by the way, was shot by 20 years old gunman at a rally in Butler and Pennsylvania. A bullet, by the way, struck and injured the upper part of his right ear. And days later, by the way, Trump wore a large white bandage on his ear while attending the Republican National Convention to accept his party's presidential nomination. And in September next month, this month, by the way, will be a Secret Service, by the way, agent helped to stop a second assassination attempt by spotting a man with a rifle heading in Sharpry near Trump's golf course in West Palm Beach and Florida. And yes, actually, terrible tragedies happen, and Vance says that. But I feel very confident, and the president of the US is in good shape, by the way, in going to serve out the remainder of his term and do great things for the American people. And if God forbid there is a terrible, by the way, tragedy. And I can't think of better on the job training than what I have gotten over the last 200 days. He added that. And Francesca Chambers and Swabna and Ramaswamy, by the way, and White House correspondents for USA Today. Thank you so much. Have a nice time and great day. Thank you so much. Goodbye. Thank you.